All right, so our math objective for today is I will be able to apply my knowledge of multiplication to create factor pairs. Now, we had gone over factor as a math vocabulary, and we said that a factor is what gets multiplied to equal the product. So usually there's two factors, which is why they're in a pair, right? And so now you will need to create two things to be multiplied to equal something else. So here is your math warm-up for today. You're going to write the missing factors in these boxes. So first we have 2 times equals 10. Times 9 equals 18. 3 times equals 30. Times 3 equals 18. 8 times equals 64. 36 equals times 4. 56 equals 8 times times 9 equals 72. 42 equals times 7. So go ahead and get started on this because this is going to warm you up, and this will make the rest of the lesson a little bit easier if you're thinking about multiplication. Okay, so go ahead and do the slide and then come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So Joanna packs 16 bottles of juice into cartons. How could she pack the bottles so that each carton has an equal number of bottles with none left over? Show your thinking using pictures or arrays, then write a number model for each of your representations. So for instance, So let's say you figured out that blank times blank equals 16. So you would write blank times blank equals 16. And you would need to show me that in an array. You can use lines to show 16 items in an array. You can do circles, you could do any of those is fine. And usually copy and paste works well if you're doing 16 items in a row. And there's going to be more than one answer to this, okay? So if you think of as many as you can, don't just think of one, okay? So 1 in 16, pause and do this before moving on, okay? So come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4 are factor pairs for 16 because we can multiply the factors in each pair to get 16. 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 8 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. For example, 2 and 8 are factor pair for 16 because 2 times 8 equals 16. I just did all that. So try packing 16 bottles equally into 5 cartons. So I provided you with these little juice boxes. They're more boxes than bottles, but it's okay. And then I want you to drag and drop them into these 5 cartons, boxes. There are 16 here. So try packing them equally in here, okay? And then after you're done with that, answer the following questions. What do you notice? Can you make a factor pair with 5 for 16? And how do you know? Okay, so do that before moving on to the next slide. Today, you will find factor pairs for products using arrays, equal groups, and their fact power. How could factor pairs for 16 help you package the juice boxes? Okay, so then put your answer right here. What do you think? All right, all of your answers are going to be different because it's based on you and what you are thinking about this. How could factor pairs for 16 help you package the juice boxes. How can you pack 10 bottles of juice into cartons so that each carton has an equal number of bottles with none left over? So put some examples right here. What would you do? Would you do blank groups of blank to put in here, or what? What do you notice about the factor pairs for 10? So you're going to put, what do you notice about how many groups of blank equal 10? And I want you to tell me, what do you notice about those pairs? Take a look at this multiplication chart. Along the left, this column right here, okay, and top, all right, these are called the edges, all right, and these are our factors. The numbers in the middle are products of these factors, okay? So usually you would have like a handheld multiplication chart. I know that some of you have made your own multiplication charts in the past, and that's fine too. You could take a look at that as well. So locate 2 on the top edge and place your finger on it. So you should take your finger and then place it right here, okay? Skip count down the column by 2s until you read 10. So put your finger at the 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What factor times 2 gives a product of 10? So as you're going down, you put your finger on and you're going down and you've gotten to 10. Now whatever row it's on the left column right here, is our other factor, okay? So then put your answer in this box. Find 5 on the left edge right here of the table. I'm sorry. You can't actually use, your expo marker on your screen. You don't want to do that. But what you can do is go to shapes, go to triangle, and you could go like that. Okay. Oops. Let's see if I can make this point over here. Yep. So you see how I have created all 3 points. One is at the 2, one is at the 10, and one is at the 5. 2, 5, and 10 are a fact family. So I'm actually not going to have you guys do this. I'm going to make it a little bit bolder and just keep it here so that way you guys know what this looks like. All right. Sorry about that. All right, look at all the numbers in the 2's column. Okay, take a look. Products with 2 as a factor can be divided into 2 groups with no leftovers. All of these can be put into 2 groups with no leftovers. They are all multiples of 2, and they are all even numbers. So 2 divided by 2, if I have 2 things and I'm putting them into 2 separate groups, then I have 1. So 2 divided by 2 equals 1, or 2 times 1 equals 2. And that works for all of these. 2 times 2 equals 4, 3 times 2 equals 6, 4 times 2 equals 8, 5 times 2 equals 10, 6 times 2 equals 12. And that, since it's the same fact family, it works the same way. 12 divided by 6 equals 2. 12 divided by 2 equals 6. All right. So look at all the numbers in the 5's column. Products with 5 as a factor make equal groups of 5 and are all multiples of 5. They have a 0 or 5 in the ones place, right? So we have 5, 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5. And so all of these are going to be 5 times 1 equals 5. 5 times 2 equals 10. Or 10 divided by 2 equals 5. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. That's the cool part about them being all in the same fact family. Now look at the numbers in the tens column. Products with 10 as a factor make equal groups of 10 and are all multiples of 10. They have a 0 in the ones place, all of them, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that also means 10 times 5 equals 50. 50 divided by 5 equals 10. 50 divided by 10 equals 5. Use fact families, equal grouping, and patterns to find factor pairs for 30. So what you need to do is take a look at this multiplication chart, or you could use fact families or equal grouping on a separate piece of paper. And you need to find some factor pairs for 30. There are more than one. And I think one of the best ways to do this is go through this chart and take a look at where 30 is. Once you find 30, for instance, I see 30 right here, right? So that would be the factor pair that equals 30 is 10 and 3. So the way I would write it in my box as a factor pair would be 10 and 3. And I could put equal 30. But if you just put 10 and 3, that's fine as well. That there is more than one answer. So that's why I gave you 10 and 3, but there is more answers. Okay, how do you know that 10 is a factor for 30? You let me know right here. Not all factors and products are included in the table. 30 is not a product shown in the 2's column. Can 30 juice bottles be put into 2 cartons equally? Put your answer right here. And how do you know? Put your answer right here. 30 is not in the 2's column because the other factor pair, 15, right here, okay, this only goes down to 10. And 15 is greater than the factors included in this table. So let's say if it went all the way down to 15, then we would know that, or we could see it on the table, 15 times 2 does equal 30. Is 11 a product in the facts table? So take a look at all of these products in the middle. Do you see 11 anywhere? And put your answer here. Does this mean it does not have any factor pairs? Does that mean that blank times blank can never equal 11? What is a factor pair for 11? So the truth is that, yes, there are 2 numbers that multiply together equal 11. So this is really going to be a yes. And what is that factor pair? Okay, what's your guess if you don't know? Or if you know, tell us what you know. And complete the slide and the previous slides before moving on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is a factor pair for every counting number. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4. So all of these are going to be the same number. And so when you get down to 11, 11 times 1 is 11. So that is your answer for the previous slide. Remember, you can use basic facts to help solve extended facts to find the factor pairs of larger products. So that is what we did yesterday. How can you use 3 times 4 equals 12 to find factor pairs for 120? And I want you to put your answer in this box. So what is another factor pair for 120? So what you can do, you can't use 3 times 4, but what you can do is you can actually go back to our multiplication chart, find 12 somewhere as a product that does not involve 3 times 4. You have to find something else. And then you can actually make these into 120 by placing a 0 next to one of these numbers. I'm out of time, so